Hi beauties, Rosie here from rosypena.com, a fashion, sewing, and lifestyle blog. Welcome back to my channel. As always, I am so excited that you're here. So in today's video, we're going to be making a really awesome sweatshirt, and we're going to be using Mccalls 7660. We're going to be working on view A of this pattern. It has this really cool sleeve detail. The fabric that you want to choose for this is a sweatshirt knit fabric. I'll try to link the one that I used in the video below, and I'll also leave some other examples for you as well. Go ahead and grab your fabric and then your pattern, and we can go ahead and get started. All right, you guys, so we're going to go ahead and get started on sewing view A of Mccalls 7660, this really gorgeous sweatshirt pattern. The fabric that I'm going to be using today is this really soft sweatshirt fabric from fabric.com. If they still have it in stock, I will link it in the description bar below. So the very first thing that we need to do is to pick the size that we want to cut out in this pattern. So the way that I like to determine what size I'm going to cut out is I just look at the back of the pattern envelope and I go with the finished garment measurements listed on the back of the envelope. Sometimes these measurements will be listed on the actual pattern themselves, but luckily this pattern has them listed on the back. So the size that I ended up cutting is a size 8. This has a finished bust measurement of 37 inches. So this is going to give me enough room to fit over my head and to fit over my bust. And then if you like, you can go ahead and just read through the pattern instructions to get a better idea of all the sewing steps that we're going to do in today's video. I like to just run through each and every step and go ahead and highlight the ones that I'm going to be working on. You want to fold your fabric with right sides facing and the selvage edges meeting. So the selvage edge is just the neatened or finished edge of the fabric, and you're just going to fold the fabric again with right sides facing and the selvage edges meeting. Then you want to go ahead and place your pattern pieces onto your fabric according to the directions on the pattern. So first you're going to need one of pattern piece number 1, which is your front, and this is cut on the fold. So whenever you open your fabric, you have one full piece of the front. Next, you should have one of pattern piece number 2, which is your back, and this is also cut on the fold. Make sure you're transferring all of your markings and snipping into your notches. So the 2 double notches on the back sleeve armhole are going to match up to the 2 double notches on your sleeve. So make sure you transfer all of your markings and all of your notches. You're going to need these in later steps of the sewing process. Next, you're going to need one of pattern piece number 3. This is your collar. And then also you're going to need 2 of pattern piece number 7. This is your sleeve. So you should have 2 separate pieces of this. Make sure you transfer those notches as well. You're going to need 2 of pattern piece number 8. This is your lower sleeve. Next, you'll also need to cut 2 of pattern piece number 9, and this is your sleeve cuff or your sleeve band. This is going to finish the lower edge of your sleeve. Alright, now that you have all of your pattern pieces cut out, we can go ahead and go on to the sewing steps. So go ahead and grab your front, and you're going to place it to your back with right sides facing, and you're going to pin at the shoulder seams, and you're going to pin at both side seams as well. Now you want to grab your sleeve cuff and you're going to fold it onto itself with right sides facing, and you're going to pin along the side. Go ahead and repeat that to your remaining sleeve band as well. Next, you're going to work on your single collar piece. So go ahead and grab your collar and fold it with right sides together, and you're going to pin along the side as well. Now we're going to move on to our sleeves. You're going to grab one sleeve and you're going to fold it onto itself with right sides facing, and you're going to pin along the side. I like to go ahead and place a pin at the lower seam and then a pin at the top, and then just go ahead and pin all the way throughout. This just helps make sure everything stays nice and even. Now we're going to grab our lower sleeve and we're going to fold that with right sides facing, matching those notches, and we're going to pin along that side seam as well, just like you see me doing here. Go ahead and repeat that to your remaining lower sleeve. To grab all of our pinned fabric pieces, and we're going to take that to the sewing machine, and we're going to sew along each pinned edge with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, making sure to remove your pins as you go. And you want to backstitch at the beginning of your seam and at the end of your seam. This is going to help secure your seams. Once you finish sewing all of your seams, go ahead and neaten them with the serger or your desired method. Next, we're going to go ahead and grab our collar piece, and we're going to take that to our pressing table. You're going to press the seam, and then you're going to fold the collar onto itself with wrong sides facing. You're going to just gently press the collar, making sure the edges stay nice and even. Go ahead and repeat that step to both of your sleeve band pieces as well. Now we're going to gather the lower edge of the lower sleeve, and the way that I'm going to do this is actually by using a gathering technique that I like to use on my sewing machine. You can either use this method or you could use the traditional gathering method. I'll have more information linked in the description bar below if you need more help with how to gather fabric. The way that I like to easily gather my fabric is I use a basting stitch, and then I turn the tension setting on my machine to the highest tension setting. This is going to automatically gather your fabric as you start to sew it. But again, if you need more help on gathering, I'll have some information linked in the description bar below. Once you've gathered your lower sleeve, you need to go ahead and place that to your sleeve cuff with right sides facing, and I'm going to be using these Wonder clips to help me clip the gathered fabric to the sleeve cuff. I noticed while working on this pattern that there's a lot of fabric to gather into the small little sleeve cuff, so take your time with this step and then just kind of ease everything in. Once I have everything together, I'm going to take this to my sewing machine and I'm going to sew starting from the inside of the fabric. Instead of working on top of the sleeve cuff, I'm actually sewing on top of the gathers, making sure that everything is nice and even as I sew it. Once you've sewn your seam, go ahead and neaten it with the serger or your desired method. Now we're going to take our lower sleeve and we're going to pin it to our upper sleeve with right sides facing. Take this to your sewing machine and you're just going to sew with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, making sure to remove those pins as you go. So now we just need to face our sleeves with right sides facing out, and we're going to slip that into our sweatshirt with the wrong sides facing out. So the right side of the sleeve is matching the right side of the sweatshirt. And then you just want to pin the sleeve in place, matching those seams and also your notches. So the front notches on the sleeve should match the front notches on your sweatshirt, and the back notches on your sleeve should match the back notches on your sweatshirt. Now you just want to sew your sleeves in place with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, making sure everything is nice and even. Go ahead and neaten the seam with the serger or your desired method, and then we're just going to go ahead and take our sweatshirt and turn it with the right sides facing out. Now we're going to do one of the last steps of making this sweatshirt, and we need to attach our collar. So go ahead and grab your collar piece and you're going to pin that to the right side of your sweatshirt neckline, matching the seam of the collar with the center back of the sweatshirt. Front of a shirt is usually dipped a little bit lower than the back of the shirt, so that's usually how you can tell if you're working on the front or the back. But you want to make sure that that seam is matching on the back of your sweatshirt. So go ahead and just pin that in place, and then you're going to evenly pin your collar throughout your sweatshirt neckline. Now you just want to sew your collar with 5/8 of an inch seam allowance, making sure the raw edges of the collar and the raw edges of the neckline stay even. I usually like to start on the center back seam. Now you just want to neaten your seam, and then the very last step that we need to do to finish our sweatshirt is to sew the hem. So the hem on this sweatshirt is 1 1/4 inch. So go ahead and just turn your fabric to the wrong side at the lower hem by 1 1/4 inch, and then you just want to press that all the way around. So just evenly press your hem up, and then go ahead and just continue pressing throughout the entire sweatshirt. Alright you guys, once you finish sewing your hem, you are all done with Mccalls 7660. I really hope you guys enjoyed this tutorial. Thank you so much for watching, and I will see you in my next one. Alright you guys, so you're all done sewing Mccalls 7660. Thank you guys so much for tuning in. If you want to learn more about this sweatshirt and see more details and pictures of me wearing it, make sure you check out the blog rosypena.com, and also don't forget to subscribe for more awesome sew along videos. Thank you guys again, and I'll see you in my next video. Bye guys!